This is the Afro Perspective Podcast, the home of over-opinionated young voices.
Welcome to the 10th episode of the Afro Perspective Podcast. My name is Tinashe. I am your host alongside my co-hosts Anton and Zoya. And today we've got some special guests. So Anton, would you like to introduce our guests?
Yeah, man, no problem. So today special guests are Victoria and the one they call TDX Campbell. Right, would you like to tell us a bit about yourselves?
Yeah, so my name is Victoria Walker and I am a life and business coach. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the co-founder of the Queen Esther's Secrets, which is a business for women where we do coaching, training and sell products for women wellness, and we just help women just be great.
Say.
He was ready this time. Yeah. All right.
Terrence is on his phone.
Come on then, TDX, tell us what I got.
So, yeah, I'm Terrence, TDX Campbell, creative, do videography, podcasting, work with athletes, sports and brands, and just keep it, what I mean.
This guy's like Sheffield's #1 cameraman. He's
So it sounds like we've got a lot of talent in the house today. Yeah,
we're just
levels up right
ordinary
now.
people. You get me? It's calm, man. It's calm.
yeah, it's good to have you guys on the show. How we do here, this is a very open forum. It's a very relaxed forum. You just talk your mind, and and yeah. So do you want to lead us into the topics?
All right, cool. So today's hot topic is based on what's been happening in the media over the last few days. So which kind of weaves into like a wider remit of issues within our community per se. So go straight into it. Dutchavelli. Right. So what we're looking at today is council culture, yeah, and actions within our community. So obviously we have I'll give the synopsis in it. So social media at the moment has highlighted a potential issue that there's not been one way or the other, where Dutchavelli, there's some allegations against him saying that he's talking to girls that are too young for him.
Okay, so give him the full story. So basically, his phone got hacked, and so they scoured through his inbox and found some
Instagram,
on Instagram, some messages that were untoward, questionable, and obviously, looking through the comments, there's been some mixed reactions in regards to obviously the issue of him speaking to a 14-year-old, a 17-year-old, I think there was an 18-year-old. So it's brought up different conversations, and one of the conversations was there's so many layers. There's so many layers to this.
Where do you start?
Yeah, where do you start?
So there's a few things, right? So Dutchavelli is 27 years old. I would say that he comes from the drill background, but I would say 2020 is probably his most prominent year today. He's been doing music for a little while, but
Angela, have you got the receipts?
Excuse me?
The receipts.
I would.
We need some receipts, or yeah. So
but in the meantime, so he's I'd say his most prominent year is 2020. That's when I really got to know him. I didn't even know he was Stefflon Don's brother until like the last few months, till summertime. He's been making some serious waves in the music industry, and I would say at the moment, when you're talking about popular drill music, he's up there in the top few.
It was literally
he's absolutely shelling right now.
So that's quite pertinent to this conversation, because for me, on the flip side of this whole thing, everyone's like cancel culture and this and whatever, but you have to always look at context, and you have to look at, he's at the peak of his, like, this has been the best year of his life, and bam, his Twitter gets hacked for whatever reason, and then all this stuff just comes out, and I always say, like, everything's about context. Like, every scenario is about context. And the one thing that I've noticed about social media is that you can take like a few sentences and make it into whatever convoluted message you want. Now, I'm not saying that this has happened in this situation. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that if you look at what you're saying about, okay, he's in the best point of his career, he's been grinding for so much, and now all of a sudden, all this stuff is coming out, and so let's always look at the semantics around it. And if it is what, is true, then that's a conversation itself, because that stuff does happen. Yeah. And we're not denying that.
Like, to add to that, if you know my resume, you know it, whatever. But I have spoke to reporters. I'm not going to say who or who they represent, but a lot of the information that comes out in the newspaper about big celebrities and stuff, they will have this information months, sometimes years in advance of it actually coming out. Because before they release it, they have to talk to the lawyers.
Yeah, but this is the...
No. Let me land. They have to talk to the...
Sorry, yeah.
This is the context now, yeah? Nobody's clipping me, you get me? All I'm saying is they have to put in a lot of... People think it's just random and they just drop it. They have to put in a lot of work and cover the backs before they drop a story. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to be getting hit with lawsuit after lawsuit. You go out of business real quick. And the reason they hold the information is they want to wait until the celebrity is at a certain level before, so that when they drop it, they're going to maximize on views, clickbait, magazine sales, or whatever the case may be. So I'm not saying
one way or the other.
Yeah. You get me?
All right, here's the thing.
So this is the biggest year of his career, and
so when did this news come out?
Like his album came out on the 5th, and the 5th of November, and so this. Okay, here's the thing. When we talk about cancel culture, I feel like cancel culture, it's the first time that we've seen society, the public, actually have some form of power. So as a celebrity now, you can get cancelled. You can literally be good today and tomorrow you're gone.
You wake up in the morning and say, what?
You can wake up in the morning. So what you were saying about, the media outlets and everything, the thing is now it's in the hands of the people. So you've been grinding and you've been doing your thing, you're a rapper, you're getting bigger and everything, you drop your album, some girl that you used to date happens to have some receipts from years and years ago. She takes those receipts, carefully sort of puts them in a way that paints you in a bad light. Now, my problem with this cancel culture is you can be cancelled before you get your due process in any form, in any when we administer justice, we're supposed to sort of follow the due process of administering justice. The problem with cancel culture, I feel like it doesn't even give you time. So
yeah, automatically the news came out and people were like,
it's like, you know what, this guy's cancelled. Now, this is not me saying he's right or he's wrong or whatever, but the reason why we don't have the death penalty is to protect the innocent. Cancel culture doesn't protect innocent.
Yeah, but it's not supposed to. It's celebrity, like, it's fickle. Fame is fickle. Like, look at what they did with H&M. It was cancel culture. H&M. Oh, I'm boycotting H&M when they did the monkey thing. People shopping H&M today. The same people are shopping in H&M. So cancel culture to me is like, I get the outrage when it happens, but it's just momentarily. It's like in that moment, and then then people forget and move on to cancelling someone else.
I think it's different for. Well, I don't want. It's different for especially black celebrities. So if you think H&M got cancelled, but he didn't really get cancelled, yeah. R. Kelly got cancelled. He really got cancelled.
Wiley got cancelled. He really got cancelled.
Wait. Wiley, I'll dig with R. Kelly. Come on, no.
No, I don't disagree.
We're just talking about.
I'm talking about cancel.
Just cancel culture, yeah.
All right, then.
When you check it, even if you bring it back to the UK, right? 2020, Dutchavelli's been obviously in the mix with regards to grooming and everything. Another popular celebrity that's also been in the mix is Tim Westwood.
Oh yeah. That was early.
Yeah, it's not talked about as much.
No, like when that wave came out, it was just as big as the Dutchavelli
Oh,
thing.
was
And the
it?
worst
Like,
thing
I
is,
missed it.
there was hundreds of girls that were coming out and saying, you know what, yeah, this guy's been doing it for the longest time.
So the argument you could have is the way the action is taken is different.
It's more detrimental to your black
But
celebrities.
sticking to what you said, cancel culture. My opinion of cancel culture is Twitter can't cancel me, because it's virtual reality. What you know?
But the thing is,
no.
it is reality, because guess what? Streaming, especially
all right,
if
let me
you
land.
generate relevant through streaming,
Let me land.
cancelled.
Let me land. You see, virtual reality. Do you know how many people say the world of things on social media? We need to stop the government. We need to fight for black. When Black Lives Matter happened, how many people came out and marched? Since then, have you seen anybody doing anything practical, physically in the real world other than do a Facebook and Twitter status? Listen, you can't cancel me when you spend all your life.
2020, social media.
I understand what you're saying.
No, but if you're inclined to live your life through, like, there's girls and men, there's people that buy clothes just to take a picture in front of the media to get Facebook and social media likes. There's people that commit suicide because they're not getting enough likes. The thing is how dangerous, how real people take virtual reality. Yeah. So why say virtual reality is not real? Half of the things people say on Twitter, they wouldn't say to your face.
I don't think that's realistic when you're talking about artists and streaming, though.
Yeah.
So if you get cancelled off all platforms,
they will hit your pocket.
Nobody buys CDs no more, so you can't run around selling CDs. People need to stream your music, and if they're not doing that, you're not making an income.
Important.
But then the conversation is, why is it then that we turn into a culture where after 5 days you're cancelled? Like,
that's what we're talking about.
I know that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But is that not a different we're talking about mentality then, innit?
Yeah, of course.
People's mentality.
Victoria.
Sorry, let me just say something. I'm trying to be honest. That's how I will say this is fake outrage and fake cancel culture, because guaranteed, there's still gonna be people like who mess with him because they like his music, they're fans, like regardless of what comes. Look with R. Kelly. There's women that bail him out. That's what I'm saying, yeah. There's people, so your stans are still gonna stand. If they don't stand, they were never true fans anyway. And that's because people are judging these artists for their art and for their music, their personal lives and what they do. You know, if you have a questionable character, fair enough, but people like them for their art.
Do you think people should separate the
artist from
Yeah, I do, because an artist is an artist. That's what they do, their art. But we like to, because human beings want to pinpoint somebody who they think is great and see their downfall, and that's what cancel culture is about. It's raising someone up and then being part of them, their fall down.
On that note,
they're human beings.
on that, let's be real. How many people say something online but do something different?
Exactly, hypocrites.
There's a bag of hypocrites.
All right,
that's all I'm trying to say about cancel culture being fake.
Totally.
I've heard many people post about R. Kelly. I kid you not, still got R. Kelly in the playlist.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If I cancel, we know I'm a big Buju Banton fan. Buju Banton went to jail for whatever reason.
He went to jail for.
It doesn't matter what he went to jail for. Just allow it. He went to jail, but I still play my Buju. I still play my R. Kelly. So it's like a fake cancel culture. It's always a passing thing.
But most people wouldn't say aloud that.
Yes, especially the R. Kelly one. People stay
from
far.
video,
Yeah, you're holding that one down.
I still play my music.
Okay,
that's why as Tanache said.
Okay, do we not think
separate
that as a 27-year-old man, because there's the other scenario of this, as a 27-year-old man, you have accountability and a responsibility to protect yourself at the very least. So if you're not going to catch me in a 14-year-old DMs. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. So as I'm just giving the other side of this. So do you not feel that when people say there's no smoke without fire, it's almost like, bro, why would you put it? It's the best time. Why would you put yourself in that scenario?
Yeah, but as he said, was it
context? And these were years ago. I'm sure these DMs were no, they were old, and they were family friends. Even the moms. Did you see the statement the mom put out?
Yeah, but some people would say that the mom got paid off.
Yes,
because it was questionable.
Whoa, bro.
I'm just saying.
Whoa, careful now. This is the thing. People could be right, yeah. But the thing in today's world, you could be the most righteous person on the planet. Somebody will say there's got to be something bad about him. Yeah? You could be the most evil person on the planet, and somebody said there's got to be something good about him. Everybody's speculating based on what they're hearing because it's entertaining. Negativity is so entertaining. Everybody's bored, locked in the house, nothing to do. The most entertaining thing to do is go up on Twitter and just talk crud.
Okay, so can we talk about where cancel culture has actually served justice?
But when you said the
all right, cancel culture.
Remember though, Busy, you just talked about the mother though, innit? You talked
Bill Cosby, R. Kelly.
But you talked about the mother's post though, innit? And like, if the police have looked into this, surely somebody would have had to show something to say that messages have got deleted and here's the full message for the police to say, okay, we don't need to ask about this. Because this guy's still in Dubai right now shooting music videos. He's not been called back to the country or anything. And the police don't play with stuff like that. Can't touch the pitney them in the UK.
So, and I don't want to seem like because this is the thing. These are all allegations. So, until it's proven that, and I just say the courts, like what you said, like due process. Yeah, if there's something untoward. But the point of the matter is that even like what he's done or alleged to do, hundreds and hundreds of men are doing this every single day. Big men who are 24, 25, 26, 27, jumping into young girls' DMs that are 14, 15, 16. This is a common thing. And this is happening every day all around us. So I get the outrage of it. And vice versa. And vice versa.
Okay, Vicky, just on that same point that you mentioned, I was listening to your live earlier on. You made a point that kind of made me, I was saying this to Anton, there's, you identified a problem that's probably not spoken about in the black community. With regards to grooming, with regards to the demographic of people that are actually grooming young girls, i.e. young men between age, I don't know, let's say 18 to 25 or 18 to 30. We've always had this impression that your groomer is this typical. Obviously, I don't want to plagiarize what you said, but I'm just trying to bring it to the table. So I think we need to have a conversation about that. We need to have a conversation.
I think that in the black community, if we're bringing it back home, there is a lot of situations from conversations I've had with certain girls like that. A lot of it gets swept under the rug. So in the sense that uncles, family, friends, whatever it will be, it's almost like there's a shame attached to it, and because that's attached to it, we want to keep it as quiet as possible, which means unfortunately these people are left scot-free to actually
keep doing it with impunity.
Not necessarily keep doing
because they do that.
You're not being punished for your behavior.
This is the thing. So
in the way that you should be, because at the end of the day, I think adults aside, if you're messing around with people that are not for you, then you should be punished for that, and you should be, brought to light, and everybody should know.
Do you think there's a culture of silence with regards to issues where grooming is concerned?
Let me just say on this point that yes, there is, and in this context, what we're talking about, if it is true, and it could well be, this is a widespread problem, and the reason why guys feel it's appropriate to do this is because they get away with it. There is no justice, and funny enough, it's like if a young girl does get caught speaking to an older guy, she's going to either protect that person, or the parents are gonna shame that girl and say, "Oh, why are you talking to this big man for?" and make it about her, and not about actually why is this big man speaking to a little girl. So we have a big problem with that around how parents interact with their girl children, and how men feel they can interact with girl children sexually with impunity.
And another thing, let's say a child is if you've got children, you're in a house, and there's an uncle that's coming around or a cousin, big male. The parents or the mother might say, "Go upstairs and put on something appropriate." Yeah. I'm sorry. Why are you telling the? So who are we protecting? The person that's coming into the house? Your child?
I guess it's
kind of messy.
It is messy, but I kind of understand that, because you're almost trying. You don't know what you don't know. So you're trying to protect the child as best you can.
But it's almost like we've gotten so used to. But then again,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't.
Yes.
For example, I can have my brethren coming around my house. I'm assuming that my brethren are
cool.
100%. I'm saying,
know.
but no, but you will never know. That's the point. Until you do.
I've spoken to a lot of black females that I have basically said like from age 13, 14 they had money
Looking them.
looking.
Yeah, I've heard it. They're trying it. Yeah. Facts.
Do you know what's weird about this? This is why I try not to get involved in stuff like this, because we're talking about a topic where it's greatly more reported by females when stuff that's going on, and men won't talk about it as much.
There is that.
All
Because it happens to boys too.
And this, I don't. Let me just make this disclaimer. I don't listen. Any of it is men, woman, whatever. It's all BS. But what I can say from experience is being a young rapper. When I'm 13, 14, and all of them things there, me and all my brethren have had big woman move to us. No, bro, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, don't. I like it's a regular thing, fam. Like I was DJing in the club from 17. Like my other brethren was in there from 16, bro. Man, I've had big woman move
Do you
to man.
think
On a power
that-
thing as well, isn't it?
And the thing is though, and let me be honest though, as it put me back to my 14, 15-year-old self around my elders and everything, it was glorified that man, what man can get the big woman, man, like
And
my
it's
head,
not right, is it?
It's not right. If you ask me now as a man, would I want that for my son? No. But back then, that's what it was.
So do you think that this
But if it's a
trend?
woman, automatically, it's like nah.
So do you-
Bonfire upon. You get what
Do
I mean?
you think that this trend of young black men grooming younger girls could be almost a symptom of, or them hurting people?
See that.
Could be.
It could be anything. It's one of them where you can't really say because
Obviously, it's not
There's-
making it. I don't want to make.
no, there's
excuses.
not enough people talk about it to be
On
able
the
to get
opposite,
a balanced. You get what I mean?
And I think in these dynamics, why I feel they're like insidious is because it's a game of power. So if a 27-year-old man or woman is trying to seduce or have sex with like a 13 or 14-year-old, that's like straight up power play. You see it when teachers are doing it to like 12. It's a psychological power play. It's like because they are in a position of trust and power. If you're older, you're more impressionable. You're more, especially if like a 10-year age gap or something. That's a lot.
Yeah,
So-
thing as well. Like, because I noticed in the UK, there's a lot of males that get caught out for it, but in America, there's a lot of females. Do you know female teachers when you just said to
It's been happening here in the UK. It's been happening
I'm always
here.
surprised. It's like, why did you snitch? You're a guy. Why did you snitch in the first place? And that's a wrong attitude to have.
But because we see more men in this country getting caught out for stuff like this. I'm just saying in America in the media, you see a lot more females getting caught out for stuff like this. I'm saying, is it?
Okay, so
country thing,
let's take it back to Dutch.
Let's
I think I think there's about 3 or 4 young females. So the first situation was an 18-year-old. And I was looking on the blog sites, the Shade Bar, UK Gossip TV and
People were
everything. And there were
killing it for
mixed,
that, by the way.
there were mixed reactions though. There were some people that were like,
She's legal.
she's legal, so
And she's 18, so she's an adult.
18, so
Can make her
she's
own
an adult.
decisions.
She's cool. She lives alone, etc., etc. And then there were some people that were like, "What does a 27-year-old
One with an 18-year-old.
have
Fresh out
like,
of
what
high
business does he
school.
have talking to an 18-year-old girl who could potentially be 17 or who could potentially just have turned 18?" It's almost like there's blurred lines.
Like, but what difference does it make if she... No, I know. I get about legality and everything. I really understand, like, legal age. I get age of consent, right? And I get this. But everyone's making this about, okay, with people on the real... There's far right and there's far left and there's a spectrum to everything. So, at the end of the day, it's like... Some people looking at it as their 18-year-old who's like this little 18-year-old in her mind. I was a mother by the time I was 17. So me at 18, I was fully responsible for a whole human life. So it's like, everything's context. And that's why everyone can have their opinion. And that's why I'm saying for me, my opinion is, I have opinions on either or side, but until the actual facts and like, okay, there's enough evidence to really, you can't take a snippet of a conversation and make 10 plus 10.
So hold on. So is are you comfortable with your 18-year-old daughter dating a 27-year-old man?
Don't make it personal, but
No, not you
make it
personally.
No,
hypothetical.
but do you know what's mad about this?
Go on.
How many elderly people do you know where one person's 60 and the other's
Brother,
50 something?
oh, how much grandparents are like that
80
anyway?
and the other's the point I'm trying to say, because they're in the elderly age, you don't even look at the 10-year, 12-year gap.
Most grandparents are 10 years apart.
Okay, so
Do you get what? All I'm saying is, it's
That's
most of us know somebody, man or woman, that is dating or dated somebody with a 10+ year age
Bruv,
gap.
all
A lot
right,
of
do you
people's
think that
grandparents
the
are
age
like that.
gap?
So all I'm saying is,
Okay, so let's
is
say
it
we've
because
got,
the word teen is in it?
no, but the teen, the
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
no,
I'm not saying it's right.
Nah, I hear you.
All right, let me give you two scenarios. You've got an 18-year-old that's going out with a 28-year-old or a 30-year-old, and then you've got a 40-year-old that's going out with a 50-year-old.
Right.
There's no issue with the 40 and 50-year-old.
Yeah,
Because
if at 50,
and why is that? Because of the maturity of
the
a
maturity.
40 of a
Now, a girl at age 17 or 18, apparently the age of consent is 16. I always thought it was 18.
No,
I
it's
don't know,
16.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, a girl at that age is not, just because 18 is the legal age, it doesn't mean that she's not at an age where she's still impressionable and susceptible to grooming.
Yeah, you're right. But guess what? You know, when you chat to old people, yeah, and they talk about, I was with George since I was 15.
All right, let me take you.
And there's nothing of them as well.
I'm not gonna laugh about that.
So there was no issue. Yeah.
Let me take you to dancehall culture. Let me take you.
We're not justifying it.
Even in dancehall culture,
TDX, you take
even in dancehall culture, Bounty Killer's got a song. Say me, yeah, man, you know, say man, let me know partial. Okay, the girl from she 18, no partial.
From the 18.
From the age 18.
Yeah, I mean, I think as an age, like, especially this day and age, and girls do mature fast. And I'm not saying that girl is ready for a full-on, you know, having children to a 27-year-old. But at 18, girls will date older guys. I did, and most of my friends that I know did. You know, and it wasn't like we were like
you were looking for that in the sense where
we
you
weren't
didn't
like
want guys your
groomed
own
into
age.
it. We like fully knew, okay, yeah, and you know, guys that are older will try and impress you a bit more, so you might like get them to like buy you things or whatever.
They
like
got a car, they can pick you up. 'Cause
yeah, you might
nobody's
just like
driving.
so, and I'm not condoning it, but that's what young girls will do. They're exploring, they're learning, they're coming of age. But I think it again, it depends on how that person is using their power and the mentality of that person. There's mature 18-year-olds and there's immature 18-year-olds.
All right, so I'm hearing that it depends
It's
on the
context.
circumstance.
It really is context. And if that person's now looking at someone who they think is, you know, maybe vulnerable or naive and trying to now finesse them and exploit them for their own gain and disadvantage the girl, and in any context, that's wrong. You know, that to me, that's wrong if you're trying to like use your wits to get something out of somebody.
Okay, so can I take this a bit left, and you can go back on track when you're ready. But we're talking about obviously age of consent and potentially grooming or whatever. So in the lyrics that we're listening to, especially in the Joe segment, you're talking about road life basically in a lot of circumstances. It's not just girls that get groomed in those scenarios. Guys get groomed by other guys in those scenarios also.
But then it's just like
It's
with
like, you know,
everything.
you got little boys that are in some trap house when they're 12 and 13 years old in some crack house, and they've been groomed by an older roadman.
Do you know what?
And they are also not protected.
Do you know what I've said about any situation, whether it's Black Lives Matter, Me Too, anything? The problem with all of these topics are the subject to your personal circumstance. Anything, don't matter in the world what you talk about, yeah? Like, my upbringing is different to yours, and different to yours, and different to yours. You might be more appealing to this movement because of something that's happened to you in your life. It's same how I'm so into youth work because of the things that have happened in my life. I get how important it is to be a role model, hence my path that I'm on. Do you get what I mean? You're a DJ, I'm a video. Everybody does something different. So I don't disagree with anybody. I'm open-minded enough to say, whatever side, that's a good point, that. But let me see the facts. I just wait for the facts. I don't consider myself part of that culture because I just find it ignorant and it's too easy to just jump on anything. Right. Anything.
So you basically want to see, before the cancel culture kicks in all the way, you want to see the evidence.
I'm not saying somebody should be cancelled. I'm not saying nothing's not caught, but I'm just saying if you get real, like I've just said, elderly people have got 10-year gap. You don't question it because they're in the 80s, but they've been together all their life. Do you get what I mean?
Since the mom was a teenager, literally, literally.
And I get times change and all of that.
No, it's a fact.
Do you get what I mean?
Going back to the age thing with Dutchavelli and the 18-year-old, I believe the adult in the situation should assess it. I don't think Dutchavelli should be speaking to anybody that is 18 or younger. He's the 27-year-old. Shouldn't he be the one that's making the decision? You know what? This isn't right. Let me reassess this situation and come back to it.
Now you got gal on your plate.
That's what I don't get.
Yeah, you got gal. Don't tell me you're
I
not
understand
getting
what
gal.
everybody is saying.
And guess what?
be
I
ugly and still getting
100% agree with that statement. But in 2020, you're not allowed to agree with that statement and then say what I've just said for the past 10 minutes. Yeah, do you get what I mean? Everybody's too in it, but nothing in life is black and white.
Nothing's black and white.
No, but bro.
It's like, I don't want to sit up here and say it's right or wrong. It's context, because as I said, for some 18-year-olds, for some 18-year-olds, fine. For others, it's like they can be that predatory element to it. And I think always when there is an older person, that's always in context. But there is also young women that are very fast and smart at 18. Very fast and smart.
Okay, you see, the only reason why I wouldn't excuse Dutchavelli in this case is, you see, if it was one 18-year-old girl that he got,
allow it, innit?
but you see, it's like we're starting to see a pattern.
You starting to see it.
There's a 14-year-old, there's a 17-year-old, and
potential.
All right, but check the joke. I agree with you as well. Yeah, but you can't do that in 2020. Do you know the reality of it is?
Terrence, you're banned from the podcast.
No, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? I'm not really. It's not my business. I don't really care. Do you get what I mean? Like, man's got my bills to pay.
I think the problem is people tend to bring these things home. So a lot of people will be looking and thinking, okay, I've got a 14-year-old.
Because of a personal
If this happened
circumstance.
to me.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole case of, okay, there was the situation of the brother that tried abducting the girl in London the other day.
Yeah.
That was a situation where we saw social media, people come together and...
But look in the difference in the context.
Massive difference.
But all right, let me ask you something, yeah? Would you agree with taking your 12-year-old to the club and leaving them sat in the corner while you party?
Hell no.
That's legal in some countries. Now, the people sometimes have their mindset because of where we're brought up. Again, I'm not saying this is right. Do not jump on me. I am just saying I've traveled around the world. And because I've traveled around the world...
So what you're saying is its mindset is obviously based on his upbringing, and your upbringing...
Do you know what? I didn't say that. I'm not saying I didn't say that. All I'm saying is, by me traveling the world, I have seen different cultures. I don't agree with a lot of what I've seen personally, but the fact is, in these countries, certain activities are legal
and
normal. It's part of culture.
Which you wouldn't condone.
Okay, no,
I won't condone that.
Which is all cool, but can I please go back to the point that Dutchavelli's had the best year of his life. He must be. There's no way this guy's a lad. There's no way this guy is not getting gout. So why would you put yourself?
Oh, he's the idiot. I won't.
Like,
if you're asking me on that level, would I do that?
No,
like,
you wouldn't, because it doesn't make sense. Like, bro, you could have picked any 20-something-year-old. 20-something, early 20s is still young in the game. Like, why would you put yourself in that situation?
It's not just that as well. Like, a young girl don't do it for me. Like, at the age I'm at now, my requirements and needs as a man and what I want.
Okay, no, hold on. Let me.
But that's because of your maturity.
Let me slide in, because did you see his note that he put on? Did you see the note? No, did you see? No homo. Right? Did you see what he put on his Instagram story?
No.
Did you read the grammar that he used for the scenario?
What?
Now, his grammar was R. Kelly level, in a sense. R. Kelly wasn't very good at reading. He basically, he spelled all the words wrong, all the grammar was in the wrong place. Even if it's slang, there should still be some structure to it, and it was completely off. Like, it was less than GCS. It was literally like year 6 SATs level.
So what are we saying?
You're talking about a guy's maturity. Guy's a road man.
Never left the ends, probably
obviously he's been
spent years in jail.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't necessarily grow up, and intellectually, obviously he's smart because he can string words together, but maybe your maturity level is not actually there yet, where you're making the same decision we're making. Sorry?
You can set it. depending on your circumstance.
Of course.
This is the problem when you see a lot of young women that get caught up in stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of it is due to lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Same with men.
Yeah.
Like, and this is the problem. That's why I say with any conversation you talk about, context is so important.
Yeah.
Because it does tend to be in certain areas, certain things happen. As a youth leader, do you know how many parents I've seen that are allowing the kids to sell drugs? Yeah, they're allowing the children to dress a certain way, chill with a certain man that they know is too old to be chilling. Like, allow it to happen because they're too high or they're too on heroin and
sorry,
circumstance.
I don't mean to cut you, but I actually made a point that when we look at there's this lazy narrative that a lot of the foolishness that's going on in our community is to do with poverty. And I used to sing that narrative until I actually started to look at our community and started to see some of our attitudes, some of our narratives, some of our cultures in our community, and realized that a lot of the stuff that's going on in our community, a lot of the youths that's on road and everything, that's a lot to do with parenting.
Yeah.
It's a lot to do with some of the things that parents accept. So if as a parent, your son brings £200 to you and he doesn't have a 9 to 5, and you take that £200.
I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying I have
No,
seen.
I'm just reflecting. Yeah, I'm just reflecting on that. Yeah. So it's like there is this toxic culture, and at the same time, the fake woke crowd will always try and make excuses and say, yeah, we need more community centres. I'll tell you this.
Yeah, but nobody wants to take accountability or responsibility of their part of the problem. It's always about, oh, look at this is why it's a problem, or pointing here and pointing there, rather than saying, okay, this is what I need to do.
Let's look here.
Because guess what?
Yeah, and
guess what? Even if you were to give these youths money, if you were to give these youths a big old community centre and opportunities, they'd still be keeping up the same fuckery. They'd still be out there because guess what? They're fascinated by the culture.
Yeah.
Not only are they fascinated, they're allowed to.
They're allowed
do what
to.
they do.
When I say they're so in awe of this street culture, a lot of the youths, when you check it now, that's out there keeping up fuckery. They're not keeping up fuckery because they grew up, they had to be savages or anything. They're just fascinated by it. They just want to be. They just want that clout. And we, as a community, give clout to the wrong people.
But all right, then,
do you know, if you're a law-abiding citizen and everything, or as a man
you're not getting no
out there, if you're in a club, the man that's doing the most fuckery is the one that gets the most clout from the gal then.
But judging by
the decent little man that's got his 9 to 5, that's never done nothing or whatever, he's gonna get the last looking. But so we as a community perpetuate that.
But you know that thing you said though, is that not been the narrative for the past how many years?
Oh yeah.
So the question I would be asking, does anybody really care?
Yeah, we do.
No, but the only reason I say it like that...
It's been like that for like 50 years.
Yeah, the only reason I say it like that is because generation after generation, after decade after decade after decade after decade, we're still saying the same
We're still
things.
making excuses to say, no, guess what? When you look at it, yeah, even down to the language that the youths are using out there, right? When the youths talk and say, yeah, I'm going to wet up this man or whatever, it simplifies such a big, heinous crime.
Yeah.
No, it does. And you're right, but guess what? We're all guilty of playing music that we shouldn't have in front of our youths. Do not tell me you aren't playing some kind of music in front of youths that you shouldn't have.
Yeah, but then again, I don't. Do
you want to get into the music versus?
No, I'm not saying this. No, all I'm saying is overall, like it's. The reason I say, does anybody really care, is because in some way, shape or form, everything is still going on. Nothing is changing. Nothing is campaigning for these things to change. People are still saying things on Facebook that are wrong, but then behind closed doors are still doing it.
I think it's... So basically...
I think, you know what, even like all this outrage and everything that we have, this energy that we have for cancelling people, like if we did have the same energy for actually affirmative change and things that we need to be doing and cancelling like certain
culture change,
like cancelling culture. We need to cancel certain cultures and cancel certain parents as well, like parenting. No, but it's true.
No, Vicky, you're absolutely right.
Victoria's out here boarding out the parents. Them, yo, yeah.
No, guess what?
I'll include myself in that because the thing is, nobody's perfect. Like everyone's trying to navigate through this society and these cultural narratives that they've given, especially for black people and young black men and young black women, and it's all a bit warped and nobody really understands themselves or their identity. And you know, you've got kids raising kids. I mean, I was a teen mother. I was a young parent. I didn't know what I was doing when I was, and there's a lot of these kids that are 15, 16 were byproducts of like teen mothers. Like You know, so
I think
these
we need to break that because I mentioned it in. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you. I mentioned this in a another podcast to say there's this whole that in our community we're so open to that, like teen pregnancies.
Yeah, and then no fathers in the household, like no role model in that. And this is the problem. This is the main problem. This is what we need to cancel.
That's the fact. That's
why
the
are you
fundamental.
gassing up to Najee right now?
No, it's the truth. It's the truth.
It's the
it all
fundamental.
stems from that.
Do you know,
like,
it's a hard one for me because my parents were young.
Anton, your parents were young, but
When I say
you
young,
look at
I mean young.
Yeah, but when you look at the culture and the attitude that they had then, they were young, but they would have had the mentality that you would have had at 21.
Oh yeah, they were more grown.
They were a lot more mature. I just think now we tend to accept certain things that other communities, when you look at the statistics, so when you look at in the black community, we probably have the highest rate of single motherhood, which I think is very problematic.
Do you know what's mad though? Again,
and this is the problem is when you actually say that, a lot of single mothers get offended.
But do you know what's bad though? No, do you know what's mad though? Again, context. All them years ago, you had no choice but to be more grown up because it was a lot harsh. These days, all of my children have some kind of iPad, Samsung tablet, whatever technology. The times have changed, bro. Like it's.
Do you know what?
I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying like the circumstances are so much more different.
Somebody said to me, "We're the first generation of parents that's raising a generation of kids."
Media.
Like you know these,
bro.
You know the
If
ones that raised the millennials had it different, and then now,
bro,
Gen Z, so
bro.
like,
If I ever told you, I'm not gonna get too much into this personal, but if I ever told you that what one of my children did, like that my parents would never have had to deal with because I didn't have the access to what he was able to do.
Yeah.
No, let me show. Look, you're there watching me. Look, this is my son's thing, right? Because I don't play this with my pitneys, them. I want to see what they're doing, right? So I've got access to what he's doing, yeah? You see that, yeah? Right, watch this. Look over the next 30 days. Look at that. They're on TikTok. Look how much time...
63 hours?
63 hours and 21 minutes has been spent on the last 30 days on TikTok. TikTok alone.
And that's
TikTok
just,
alone.
And that's just TikTok. And that's just TikTok.
That's just TikTok.
I understand. How
you
how-
think?
Yeah.
And the problem is...
understand.
If context, let's give context. If I can block this app right now, I can block it. But then I get social care on my phone saying, yo, your son's getting depressed and blah, blah, blah. We're asking, could you loosen up the thing? Because he's there. Everybody makes it.
So you think social media has become a reality?
I think
virtual media has become a reality.
Social
It's
media
especially in 2020 where kids are not going to school.
It's virtual reality.
They're
but
literally
for the
learning on
kids
their
then,
tablets.
you see what
You
it's
gotta think, the kids. You got to think about it this way. So we are the generation that saw it come. So we lived our life outside, and then we
had a
saw
little bit
inside.
inside, yeah.
Yes, my children.
That's all they know.
It's their like that's what they know.
My I've got my over 9-year-old daughter that's already worried about her appearance and makeup, her skin
Alright
color,
then.
her hair.
You gotta think about at 9 years old. Back in the day, girls
weren't worried
bothered
about that.
Not on average, they weren't bothered about. They were still playing with the boys, them and flinging ball and you know the rest. You know what I mean? So
And the only thing I'm saying that's how we've made, especially in this country, we make an excuse for everything. If a kid cries at school, don't. The sports day, you get a medal for a participation medal. What is that?
that actually pisses me off. I can't
I
say.
think society's become more fickle and
that's the thing. This culture, this westernized culture, you cannot be deceived by its semantics and what it wants to tell you. Like now, boys can be girls and girls can be boys, and
do you know what I was gonna bring up? Dwayne Wade and Gabriel.
like, and I'm not
Tap it out.
against. I'm really not against it. I think people no, but honestly, I really am not against it. I really feel people should be able to express themselves however they want to, but let's keep facts real. Biologically, women and men are different. And if you're a woman, you have women biology and hormones, and if you're a man,
Vicky,
you have.
would you agree to say that Western ideals are not compatible with
They're not.
African people?
They're not, because they're against everything African people stand for. We stand for the family and unity. They stand for independence and the singleness. We stand for moral and principle. They stand for debauchery and do what you want. We stand for love and unity. They want to go to war with everybody and kill the world. We're completely on the opposite spectrums, and we're trying to assimilate into a system that is anti-against with Africa, us as African people. Right. And that's why we need to stop all this.
Just done this.